AMC is now down 2 weeks in a row, and Wall Street is hoping that this trend continues long enough to break AMC shareholders and force them to sell. The movement of AMC's stock price was less than favorable Thursday and Friday this past week, as bearish momentum pushed the price down and broke below $50 on Friday. Of course, the days played out as you'd expect. The media loves to see negative news, so they were quick to report an almost dismissible tweet by Iceberg Research reporting that they were short on AMC. Let's talk about the weird situation involving Iceberg Research. Let's talk about how it may relate to the failure to deliver problem, and let's get to it. What's up YouTube, James from Thursday Media here, and in this video we're breaking down the debacle involving Iceberg Research and why the failure to deliver problem may be bigger than we know. I'll keep the video brief today, as we should be enjoying the holiday with friends and family or watching a movie at our favorite theater chain. Regardless, the price action of AMC remained nearly unchanged at the beginning of the week until Thursday, when a strong effort to push the stock to the downside began. And a strong effort that we can make to push this channel up is to hit the like button so that YouTube knows that we're still in the game. Like it or not, we got 2 red days in a row at the end of the week on AMC, and of course, bears came out in full force to show their support. The icing on the cake for the media was the secretive Iceberg Research posting that they were short on AMC. The media immediately began running the news, and retail investors were left scratching their heads as to how this even was news. There was heavy selling pressure that followed in the form of short sales and large block sales that dramatically dropped the price of the stock. Now, Iceberg Research has been operating and publishing their due diligence for a little less than a decade. And you can check for yourself, they focused on just a handful of companies to publish over the last 10 years and have no published information regarding AMC. Most of their opinions are now shared via Twitter, including their short position on AMC. Their only thesis is that the options activity has dried up and the fundamentals of the company don't support the price. So when a secretive group that not many follow tweets something that the media has been saying for the last 2 months, the stock price really shouldn't care. But that's not what happened, so let's go tinfoil hat for a minute. Since Iceberg Research is secretive by nature, we really can't expect much in terms of solid information about the company's operations. What we can speculate is that the timing of this tweet was to provide some reason, any reason, for a pre-planned, coordinated attack against the stock. Now, this has been postulated already by several across the AMC community, but it is worth mentioning again that Iceberg Research, even if they are a legitimate company, does not really have the clout to move the stock 10% to the downside with a single tweet. They're not Citron, they don't have the history, and they posted that as an institution, they're short on AMC. Institutional shorting of AMC is why we're all here to begin with. We know that hedge funds are shorting AMC. We see the data daily. So we see this tweet at 9:02 a.m. Central Time. Within 1 minute, we have an article posted, and a couple of minutes after that, we see a massive dump of shares. If you believe this doesn't seem a little too convenient, then let's dig a little deeper. Now, notice that these dips keep taking place at the end of the week, and I have spoken in the past about institutions holding a large number of shares and potentially dumping them during the squeeze. Now, this week we got huge blocks of shares being sold, but maybe for a different reason than stopping the squeeze. AMC's stock ended up on the threshold securities list, meaning fails to deliver were consistently high and uncovered at least 5 days in a row. Now, for a bit of history, GameStop popped up on the list December 8th, 2020 and remained there until their massive run in late January. As fails to deliver begins piling up and are not able to be covered, a wave of issues begins to arise. These issues are further compounded when options contracts keep expiring every week in the money. The major problem stems from retail investors buying and holding the stock. As options contracts are exercised, market makers have to deliver 100 shares per contract, and with most of the shares locked up in retail hands, synthetic shares are having to be delivered instead while they wait to buy and fulfill the orders with actual shares. Also take into consideration that during all of this, retail investors are still buying and holding the stock. At the beginning of June, retail ownership was 80%, and it's not beyond reason to believe that retail ownership is even higher now. If all of this is good news, then why are big blocks being sold now? Wouldn't institutions want in on the squeeze? It's still a mystery on where these large sale orders came from, but it may have been in an effort to drive the price down below the level of some of the call options sitting in the money. Or they weren't confident in being able to sell hundreds of thousands of shares during the squeeze, or maybe they believe the squeeze won't happen. Whatever the reason, this isn't the first time we've seen large blocks of shares dumped on the market and a price dip occur because of it. In fact, retail investors are buying the dips that are created and of course holding these shares right after. With AMC on the threshold securities list for a week now, there is an obvious problem when it comes to covering fails to deliver, and any buying to cover these will ultimately lead to a positive movement for the stock. Will retail take back momentum and force it to happen sooner rather than later? Only time will tell, but the strange reports, manipulative price action, and mounting evidence of massive synthetic shares being sold for AMC is painting a picture that a squeeze is likely becoming more imminent. And the longer this drags out, the larger the AMC community grows. But as always, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, just following the FTDs on AMC. So always make sure that you do your own research before making any financial decision and that you make financial decisions that you're comfortable with. If you're interested in investing, I'll leave you some links down in the description below that'll help get you started. Some of these are even offering free stocks when you sign up and make your first deposit. If you like this video and you want more like it, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I post every Thursday and Sunday unless I throw in a bonus. Enjoy the break and holiday, grab a corn dog, and thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.